Have you ever found yourself repeating the same patterns, waking up in the same version of reality, even though deep down you know life is meant to be so much more? Maybe you've practiced affirmations, you've visualized, you've whispered your intentions to the universe late at night, and yet when the sun rises, it feels as though nothing has changed. It's almost as if your desire lives in one world, and you remain trapped in another. That space between the life you're living and the life you long for, it can feel like an impossible distance. And in those moments of silence, you might begin to wonder, am I missing something? Is there a hidden step, one that no one seems to be talking about? Reality shifting has become a phrase that stirs so many imaginations, especially among seekers of transformation. People dream of stepping into timelines where their fears dissolve, where opportunities open, where love flows freely, where every morning feels like stepping into a movie scripted just for them. And yet the reality of so many seekers is that they are still waiting, still searching, still trying every method they can find, looping guided meditations, writing endless affirmations, clinging to manifestation techniques, as if one more repetition will finally unlock the door. But here's the truth. You can hold the keys in your hand and still never open the lock if you don't know how to turn them. This is why today's message is so important. Because the step I'm going to share with you is not one of the flashy surface-level techniques. It's not about tricking your mind into believing, nor is it about doing more. In fact, it is the exact opposite. It is about a level of alignment so overlooked, so subtle, that most seekers skip right past it. And yet, without it, every other technique becomes nothing more than a performance, a ritual without power, a song with no melody. This overlooked step is what makes the difference between wishing and living, between wanting change and embodying it. Pause for a moment and reflect. Think of all the times you've tried to change something about your life. Maybe you tried to manifest a relationship, and yet the same patterns of loneliness kept echoing back to you. Maybe you tried to manifest financial abundance, but the energy of lack still clung tightly to your daily experiences. Maybe you set the intention to shift into a healthier version of yourself, but no matter how much you affirmed, the old habits pulled you back. Why does this happen? Why do some people seem to slip seamlessly into new realities, while others remain stuck in the same loop? The answer, my friend, is not that you lack discipline, or that you're not spiritual enough, or that the universe has forgotten you. It's that somewhere, hidden underneath the surface, a crucial step is being skipped. Imagine trying to tune into a radio station. You know the music is there, but if your frequency is even slightly off, all you'll hear is static. You can turn the volume up, you can sing along, you can even convince yourself you hear the faint trace of a melody, but the station won't truly come alive until you are attuned to the exact frequency. Reality shifting works in exactly the same way. The new life you long for is already broadcasting, already existing. But unless you align yourself inwardly, unless you make that overlooked calibration, all you will experience is static. And so, in this journey we are about to take together, I invite you to set aside everything you've been told about forcing reality to change. Instead, allow yourself to step into a softer, deeper truth. This is not about running faster on the hamster wheel of manifestation techniques. It is not about reciting affirmations until your throat is dry. It is not about wrestling your mind into submission. It is about remembering a secret that has always been whispered within you, that reality does not shift because you demand it to, it shifts because you become the version of yourself who is already living it. As we move deeper into this exploration, I will show you why so many seekers remain stuck in the illusion of effort. I will reveal the subtle, yet powerful step that almost no one talks about, the step that transforms manifestation from struggle into flow, from repetition into embodiment. And I will guide you through practices that don't just inform your mind, but recalibrate your entire being, so that you naturally step into the reality you desire. But before we go there, take this moment to breathe. Notice the rhythm of your breath, the quiet presence of your awareness, the subtle truth that right now, you are already in the midst of infinite possibilities. Feel the contrast between the old self, the one that chases, grasps, and strives, and the new self, the one that simply aligns, receives, and becomes. You are standing at the threshold of a shift. The overlooked step is waiting for you like a key that has always been in your pocket. And in this journey, we are going to take it out, turn it, and finally open the door. Because here's the secret that most never realize: the doorway to your new reality is not far away. It is not in some distant future. It is here,
Yeah.
now, hidden in plain sight. And once you see it, once you embody it, nothing will ever be the same again. So many seekers step into the path of manifestation with excitement in their hearts and hope in their eyes. They hear the stories, they watch the videos, they read the books, and they believe if others can shift their reality, then so can I. With that belief, they dive in head first. They build vision boards, repeat affirmations until they echo in their minds like mantras, visualize their desired future until it feels more vivid than the present moment. For a while it feels empowering. For a while they truly believe the door is about to open. And yet, days pass, weeks pass, sometimes even years pass, and their reality still seems eerily the same. This is the great mirage of manifestation. It looks real from a distance. It promises an oasis in the desert of our longing. But as you walk toward it, it vanishes, leaving you thirsty, confused, and questioning your own power. And the more you chase, the more the mirage dances just out of reach. Why does this happen? Why do people who pour their hearts into manifestation still feel stuck in the same repeating loops? The answer lies in the subtle difference between doing the techniques and becoming the shift. Most people unknowingly treat manifestation as a checklist: visualize for 10 minutes, journal affirmations 3 times a day, meditate at night. But manifestation is not a mechanical process. Reality shifting is not about stacking more techniques on top of your current state. Because if the core of your being is still anchored in fear, doubt, or lack, no amount of surface effort can override that frequency. Think of it this way: you can decorate a room with the most beautiful furniture, paint the walls with your favorite colors, place crystals and candles in every corner. But if the foundation of the house is cracked, the structure will still collapse. In the same way, you can cover your daily life with rituals of manifestation, but if the foundation of your self-concept is misaligned, your reality will always return to its old form. This is where frustration creeps in. People start to wonder, maybe this doesn't work. Maybe I'm not meant to shift. Maybe the universe doesn't hear me. But the truth is not that reality shifting doesn't work, it's that they are focusing on the wrong layer. They are standing at the surface of the ocean, rearranging the waves, while the real transformation lies in the unseen currents beneath. The mirage becomes even more deceptive, because sometimes people do experience small shifts. Maybe they manifest a quick win, a small amount of money, a kind gesture, a lucky break. And for a moment, they feel victorious. But then, just as quickly, life snaps back to old patterns. The abundance fades, the opportunities dry up, the spark disappears. This roller coaster leaves many feeling even more disillusioned. They begin to chase harder, trying more methods, jumping from one teacher to the next, hoping the next ritual will finally be the secret. And in doing so, they unknowingly reinforce the very vibration of lack, the belief that they are still missing something, still not enough, still waiting. It's like trying to quench your thirst by drinking salt water. The more you consume, the thirstier you become. Because the energy behind the action is what matters, not the action itself. If you are visualizing your dream life while secretly believing it is far away, the universe does not hear the visualization, it hears the frequency of distance. If you are affirming abundance while secretly fearing you will never have enough, the universe does not respond to your word. This is the harsh truth, and yet, within it lies the doorway to freedom. The mistake is not in trying to shift, it's in trying to shift from the wrong place. Most seekers are still trying to manifest from the old self, the self that feels broken, the self that feels unworthy, the self that is trying desperately to escape its current reality. But here is the paradox: you cannot escape your current self into a new reality. You must transform who you are being, so that the new reality is no longer separate from you. Consider this contrast. The old self says, "I want to be loved, so I will visualize someone loving me." The aligned self says, "I am love, and therefore my reality naturally reflects that truth." The old self says, "I want money, so I will affirm abundance." The aligned self says, "I embody abundance, and therefore opportunities flow to me." The difference is subtle but powerful. One chases the mirage, the other drinks from the well. This is why so many people feel exhausted on their manifestation journey. They are working so hard to create results, but they are working from a state of misalignment. Imagine pushing against a locked door with all your strength, day after day. You sweat, you strain, you use every ounce of energy, and yet the door never opens. But what if the door was never meant to be pushed? What if the key has been sitting quietly in your pocket all along? This overlooked step, which we will explore soon, is that key. It is the missing calibration that unlocks the door effortlessly. But before we step into it, it's important to see the trap for what it is. Because once you can name the mirage, once you can recognize the illusion, you no longer have to waste your energy chasing shadows. Instead, you can begin to ask the deeper question, what am I being, as I seek to manifest? Am I operating from fear, or from trust? From lack or from wholeness? From desperation, or from alignment? This question is the beginning of awareness, and awareness is the first crack in the old reality. So if you have ever felt frustrated that your reality has not shifted, if you have ever wondered why you seem to be doing everything right, but still feel the same, let this be your reassurance. You are not broken, you are not failing, and the universe has not abandoned you. You are simply walking toward a mirage, and once you see through it, the real oasis will reveal itself. Because manifestation is not about working harder, it is not about stacking rituals, it is not about chasing results. It is about uncovering the overlooked step, the inner calibration that makes reality shifting effortless. And once you understand this, you will no longer waste your energy on the illusion of effort. Instead, you will begin to embody the vibration that naturally draws the new reality to you. And so, with the mirage revealed, we are now ready to step deeper into the truth. In the next part of this journey, I will share with you the most overlooked step in reality shifting, the hidden alignment that turns static into symphony, wishing into becoming, and effort into ease. When we speak about reality shifting, most people immediately think of techniques, visualization, scripting, subliminals, meditation tracks. All of these have their place, and they can be powerful tools. But without the one step I'm about to reveal, they are like arrows without a target, energy without direction. This step is not glamorous. It is not often talked about because it doesn't look as exciting as manifesting a car, a soulmate, or a sudden windfall of money. But this step is the very heartbeat of reality shifting. It is the silent alignment that allows everything else to fall into place, and that step is what I call inner calibration. What does inner calibration mean? Imagine a musician tuning their instrument before a performance. They may have the most beautiful song written, the most expensive instrument in their hands, the most elaborate stage prepared. But if the strings are even slightly off, the entire performance will feel discordant. No matter how passionately they play, the sound will never land the way it is meant to. Reality shifting works the same way. You can have all the right intentions, all the right tools, and even all the right desires. But if your inner frequency is not calibrated to the reality you wish to step into, your outer world will never echo it back to you. Calibration is about adjusting your inner self, your beliefs, your emotional tone, your sense of identity, until it vibrates in harmony with the reality you want to experience. It is not about pretending. It is not about forcing. It is about attuning, like a radio dial turning slowly until the static gives way to crystal clear music. The overlooked step is realizing that reality does not shift because of what you do, it shifts because of what you are being. Let's use a simple analogy. Imagine you want to listen to a song on the radio. The station already exists. The song is already playing. You don't have to create it, you don't have to convince the radio to broadcast it, you don't even have to work hard to deserve it. All you have to do is tune your dial to the right frequency. The moment you do, the music flows effortlessly. The song comes alive. This is the essence of inner calibration. The life you desire, the wealth, the love, the freedom, the health, it already exists as a frequency in the field of infinite possibilities. Your job is not to chase it or beg for it. Your job is to calibrate yourself to it, so that it naturally becomes your lived experience. This is why so many manifestation attempts fail. People try to leap from one frequency to another without recalibrating themselves. They visualize abundance, but continue to feel lack. They affirm love but continue to believe they are unworthy. They meditate on peace but continue to embody anxiety. The universe does not respond to words alone, it responds to frequency, and frequency is determined by who you are being in each moment. Inner calibration begins with self-concept. Who do you believe yourself to be? Because reality will always mirror that belief. If deep down you still see yourself as the person who struggles, who is unlucky, who is unworthy, then no amount of affirmations will permanently shift your reality. You may see temporary flashes of change, but the old identity will always pull you back. To shift realities, you must calibrate your identity to the version of you who already lives the life you desire. This does not mean you have to become someone entirely different. It means you must remember the truth of who you really are. Underneath the layers of fear, doubt, and conditioning, you are already aligned with love, abundance, and wholeness. Calibration is not about adding something new, it is about peeling away what is false until you vibrate as your truest self. Consider how this feels in practice. Imagine someone trying to manifest a soulmate while secretly believing they are unlovable. They may visualize their perfect partner every night. They may script detailed scenarios of romantic dates. They may affirm "I am loved 100 times a day." But if their inner calibration still hums with "I am unworthy," then every signal they send into the universe is clouded with static. The reality that returns will mirror that unworthiness. Instead of attracting aligned love, they may find themselves in relationships that reinforce their fears, or worse, in continued loneliness. Now imagine the same person, but this time they begin to calibrate inwardly. They begin to embody the identity of someone who is already worthy, already whole, already radiant. They shift their focus from getting love to being love. They cultivate the inner frequency of belonging and joy. They no longer chase, they become, and from that state, love naturally flows into their life, because reality has no choice but to reflect their new calibration. Inner calibration is not just about thoughts, it is about embodiment. You cannot simply think yourself into a new reality. You must feel it, live it, embody it, even before it shows up externally. This is why spiritual teachers across time have said act as if it is already done. But here's the nuance, acting as if is not about pretending. It's not about forcing yourself to fake a smile when you're drowning in sadness. It's about gently shifting your inner state, little by little, until the new frequency becomes natural. This is where patience and gentleness come in. Calibration is not a one-time event, it is a continuous practice. Just as a musician tunes their instrument before every performance, you must return to your inner alignment daily. Each time you catch yourself slipping into lack, into fear, into doubt, you are given an opportunity to recalibrate. And over time this becomes easier, more natural, more effortless. Some people resist this idea because it seems less exciting than flashy manifestation rituals. It requires self-reflection. It requires honesty. It requires sitting with your shadows and acknowledging the parts of you that feel misaligned. But here is the paradox. The moment you embrace calibration, everything else becomes easier. Visualizations become more vivid. Affirmations carry more weight. Opportunities appear naturally. Life begins to flow. The effort disappears because your energy is finally in harmony with your desire. To put it simply, inner calibration is the bridge between the self that wants and the self that lives. Without it, manifestation remains a performance. With it, manifestation becomes inevitable. And here is the most beautiful truth: you are already closer to calibration than you realize. Every moment of frustration you've felt on this journey has been your soul whispering, look inward. Align here. Tune here. The overlooked step has always been within you, waiting for you to recognize it. So ask yourself now, what frequency am I living from today? Am I tuned to lack or to abundance? Am I embodying fear or love? Am I chasing reality or am I attuning myself to it? These questions are the beginning of calibration, and the moment you begin to live as the version of yourself who already inhabits your desire, the shift is no longer a possibility, it is a certainty. Because reality is not something you chase, It is something you align with. And once you calibrate your inner world, your outer world cannot help but follow. The overlooked step is not outside of you. It has always been you. Now that you understand the essence of inner calibration, the natural question arises, how do we actually practice it? How do we move from theory to embodiment, from knowing to becoming? The truth is, calibration is not achieved through one grand gesture. It is cultivated through small intentional shifts that retune your inner being day after day. Just as you would not expect to master an instrument after plucking a single string, you cannot expect permanent transformation from one moment of clarity. Instead, you align yourself again and again, until the new vibration becomes second nature. Let us explore several practices that can help you embody this overlooked step, not as techniques to perform for results, but as living rituals that recalibrate who you are being. The first practice is what I call identity scripting. Instead of writing affirmations from the perspective of wanting, you write from the perspective of being. For example, instead of "I want to be abundant," you write, "I am a person whose life overflows with opportunities and wealth. I wake up excited each morning knowing that abundance is natural to me." The key is not in the words themselves, but in the way they shift your self-concept. You are not begging the universe, you are declaring your identity. And each time you write, you reinforce the calibration of the self you are stepping into. The second practice is energetic check-ins. Throughout your day, pause and ask yourself, what frequency am I broadcasting right now? Am I aligned with joy, trust, and love? Or am I radiating fear, doubt, and resistance? Most people live unconsciously, letting old emotions dictate their vibration. But when you check in, you reclaim your power. Even if you find yourself in misalignment, you can gently shift, perhaps by placing a hand on your heart, taking a deep breath, and reminding yourself of the reality you are choosing. Calibration is not about perfection, it is about awareness and gentle redirection. The third practice is what I call state-shifting rituals. These are small symbolic acts that anchor you into your desired frequency. For example, if you are calibrating to abundance, you might light a candle each morning and say aloud, "This flame represents the wealth that flows endlessly through my life." If you are calibrating to love, you might play a piece of music that makes your heart swell and dance slowly in your room, embodying the joy of already being cherished. The rituals themselves are not magical, but your intention, your embodied presence, makes them powerful gateways to alignment. Another essential practice is shadow acknowledgement. Many people attempt to calibrate by ignoring their fears, burying their doubts, and plastering positivity over their wounds. But true calibration requires honesty. You cannot shift your frequency by pretending your shadows don't exist. Instead, you must sit with them, acknowledge them, and lovingly release them. When you hear the voice that says, "I am not worthy," do not push it away. Instead, look it in the eye and say, "I see you, I understand where you came from, but I no longer choose to live by your story." By bringing compassion to your shadows, you integrate them rather than resist them. And in that integration, your frequency naturally rises. Calibration also lives in micro-habits, the small choices you make each day that reinforce your identity. If you are calibrating to the self who values health, then drinking a glass of water in the morning becomes an act of alignment. If you are calibrating to the self who embodies abundance, then tipping generously or treating yourself kindly becomes a signal to the universe. Each habit whispers, "This is who I am." And as you repeat them, your identity solidifies, your calibration deepens, and your reality begins to shift. There is also the practice of visualization with embodiment. Many people visualize as if they are watching a movie of their future life. But true calibration requires you to step into the scene, to feel the emotions in your body, to taste the reality as if it is happening now. Don't just see yourself driving the car, feel your hands on the steering wheel, hear the engine, breathe in the newness of the leather. Don't just imagine being loved, feel the warmth of the embrace, the softness of the voice, the security in your chest. When your body participates in the visualization, your nervous system begins to accept it as real, and your calibration deepens. Let's also speak of gratitude, but in a deeper way. Not gratitude as a list you write half-heartedly before bed, but gratitude as a state of being. Gratitude that arises when you realize that the reality you desire already exists in the field, and that by aligning with it you are already connected to it. When you practice gratitude for what is coming as though it is already here, you collapse the illusion of time. Gratitude becomes the bridge between your current frequency and your chosen one. Breathwork, too, is a profound tool for calibration. The breath is the most direct way to shift your state because it is both physical and energetic. When you feel yourself slipping into fear or lack, take a series of slow, intentional breaths, inhaling possibility and exhaling resistance. Each breath is a reminder that you are not trapped in your old self. With every inhale, you align with the new. With every exhale, you release the old. Now understand this. These practices are not to be performed mechanically. They are not about doing more. They are about choosing presence, awareness, and alignment. Even one sincere moment of calibration is more powerful than hours of hollow ritual. Quality of frequency always outweighs quantity of effort. Over time, as you embody these practices, you will notice something remarkable. Life begins to reflect your calibration effortlessly. Opportunities appear without struggle. Synchronicities weave through your days. People respond to you differently. And perhaps most importantly, you begin to feel a deep sense of peace, not because everything outside of you has changed yet, but because inside you are already living the shift. This is the paradox and the gift. When you no longer chase reality, reality begins to chase you. When you stop striving to force alignment, alignment becomes your natural state. And when you embody the overlooked step, manifestation is no longer a question of if, it becomes a question of when. So let these practices be your compass. Let them guide you back to yourself each day. Let them remind you that you are not waiting for your reality to shift, you are becoming the shift itself. Because once you calibrate inwardly, your outer world has no choice but to reflect the symphony of your new frequency. As we come to the end of this journey together, I invite you to pause and reflect on everything we've explored. You began this video perhaps with a sense of longing, maybe even frustration, wondering why reality shifting sometimes feels so far away. You may have recognized yourself in the mirage, the cycle of trying harder, repeating affirmations, chasing results, yet still feeling stuck. But now you see the truth. It was never about doing more. It was always about aligning more deeply. The overlooked step is not outside of you. It was never hidden in some secret technique or distant teaching. The overlooked step has always been within you. It is the art of inner calibration, the gentle, steady practice of becoming the version of yourself who already lives the life you desire. When you calibrate inwardly, the universe has no choice but to mirror that alignment. The shift becomes natural, inevitable, effortless. Think of the contrast we explored together. The old self, striving and pushing, believing reality is separate, distant and hard to reach, versus the new self, who understands that reality is simply a reflection of inner frequency. The old self begs for change. The new self embodies it. The old self chases the mirage. The new self drinks from the well. That contrast is the doorway. And now you stand on the threshold with the key in your hand. So, as you leave this space and return to your life, carry with you this reminder: your reality is not waiting for you to deserve it, or to prove yourself, or to perform endless rituals. Your reality is waiting for you to become attuned to it. Every breath you take, every choice you make, every thought you allow is an opportunity to calibrate. And each time you choose alignment, even in the smallest of ways, you are shifting timelines, you are collapsing distance, you are stepping deeper into the truth of who you already are. Remember, this journey is not about perfection. You will have days where you feel misaligned, where doubts rise, where old patterns whisper again. But even in those moments, you are not failing. You are being given another chance to tune your instrument, to adjust your frequency, to embody the overlooked step once more. And with each return to calibration, your reality will respond with greater clarity, greater synchronicity, greater flow. So, take a deep breath with me now. Feel the stillness. Feel the truth vibrating in your chest. You are not separate from the reality you seek. You are already one with it. The most overlooked step in reality shifting has always been to remember this, to embody it, to live it. And as you walk forward from this moment, trust that the shift is already unfolding. Trust that your calibration is enough. Trust that your new reality is not on its way, it is here, and you are already stepping into it.